And welcome back to another episode of The Conversation. I'm Nubereto. The Conversation, last couple months, we had a chance to talk to many good candidates. We had a chance to go remote to different locations. And we're here with another candidate and a friend of mine and a fellow church member. And here with Gary Keith. Gary, first and foremost, thank you for coming on The Conversation.
Thank you for having me, Noe.
Gary, we were way back. I mean, obviously a couple of years now, and we're both Jubilee members. Just talk about, for people who don't know you, who is Gary Keith?
Well, first of all, I'm a husband, a father, a grandfather, over 30-year resident of Brockton. I'm with a military background, U.S. Army background, 23-year background in law enforcement, and just someone who loves the city that I live in.
Now, Gary, a lot of your signs, you have a slogan, and the slogan is "Experience Matters."
Yes.
Talk about what that means to you, and what separates you from other candidates.
Okay. Well, when I talk about the experience matters, Newbie, I'm talking about the fact that I served 4 years on the planning board, 4 years on the zoning board. But not just that. I mean, we have some other candidates that are now sitting on the board, and they probably have a year up under their belt. But I'm talking 4 years, but I'm also talking I sat on both of the boards, which is very rare that you see someone on planning and zoning. So I got to see cases from both sides of that government board.
So yeah, talk about the things that you've done on those boards. It seems like it's a lot of work, but the average voter may not know what the board entails.
Well, first of all, on the planning board, people have to come to us with their plans or what they want to do. Okay, and it has to be able to fit into the what Brockton is looking for also. So those are things that out of the 7 or 8 members there, we have to actually vote in favor of it or not in favor of it, and we have to make sure that all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, and make sure that everything is correct. We can also set, and then once it's approved in that area, the next meeting that they have would be going to zoning. So again, I sat on that side of it also. Now with zoning, we set the hours, we can set how much manpower you have, your times of operation, things like that. But it has to fit, because the zoning laws basically say how big your business can be or how big your home can be if you're building a home or a business, whatever it might be. So these are things that with me sitting on them, I've actually helped a lot of citizens that did not know how the process worked. And they might have even been turned down the first time. And yet afterwards, which you're really not supposed to, but I feel that the city doesn't really, at this point here, and that's something that if I'm elected would have to change a little bit, because a lot of people came in front of us that did not know exactly how the process was. And after they were turned down, whatever, I told them what they had to do to be able to come back in front of us again, and what they really needed to do and who they should talk to. So I pointed a lot of people in the right direction, and I think and they appreciated that, because again, you heard people say in this election, the good old boy network, and that's what it seemed like was going on. And some people would come in front of us that were coming in front of the boards on a regular basis, and they were part of that good old boy network, But then there were people that were just starting out or bought a house but didn't know the fact that they couldn't renovate it the way they wanted to and stuff. So it was like money wasted because nobody was telling them the process along the line. I helped these people. One of the other things I done is I was instrumental in Teen Challenge, fighting the opiate addiction, when I was called by, like you said, a member of our church, Pastor Josh, who used to be a director there. And he called me and asked me if I could go up there and assist them where I sat on the board. And sure enough, I went up there, and and when it was all said and done, they had a 64-bed extension. And after that was done, myself and the director of Teen Challenge came outside, and I looked at the land they had, and I said to him, "Why don't you put another building up over there?" And they actually just had their grand opening on a short-term facility for Teen Challenge. So I feel very good about that as far as them fighting the opiate addiction here that we have in Brockton.
So Gary, just talk about some of your accomplishments that you're most proud of the last couple of years.
Well, the most I guess the thing that I'm most proud of basically is the relationships that I formed with citizens of Brockton, from being there to help them, because a lot of times, again, I don't feel our government has worked. So some of the citizens of Brockton have reached out to their ward councilors or their at-large councilors and didn't get any results, and my phone rang. And because I was there, whether we accomplished what they wanted or whatever, I was there for them, and so I forged relationships with them. And that's something that's really, I'm proud of that. But I guess one of the biggest things I'm proud of is the fact that I was also instrumental in shutting down synthetic drugs here in Brockton, to where they were being sold out of a location here not too far from City Hall. And again, a citizen reached out to me because they couldn't get the results they were looking for. And I went down, I took a couple of videos, and then I had to actually reach out to one of the councilors and the mayor, the former mayor, Bill Carpenter. And because I did that, basically, they, along with the police department, were able to go in and shut this place down and give them a nice hefty fine. I was really proud of that because of the fact that there were a lot of people that were taking their last bit of money, buying the synthetic marijuana, synthetic drugs, and it very badly affected them. So
you talk about relationships, and really beyond city council, you're one of 11. So fostering relationships is huge. Just talk about how you'd be able to do that, and kind of what separates you from the rest in terms of building relationships and negotiating different things.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I do right now, Newbie, is for the last 21 years, come this December, I'm in sales, and I'm a negotiator. I'm the closer that goes in and closes these deals. So my strength is basically negotiating, but bringing a team together. Okay. I've always been able to, it's like E.F. Hutton. When I talk, people listen. And it's something that I feel is a strength of mine, to where I've always been able to bring people together because of the fact that I can relate to a lot of people. And they find me trustworthy. I'm that person that's approachable, that they can come to. I have so many people that come to me with their problems because they know that I'm going to listen, but they also know that not only am I going to listen, I'm going to give them some sound advice. I'm that person that can work with almost anybody, okay, regardless of personal feelings or anything else. I'm a professional in anything I put my mind to do, and I think that I can bring the city council together, even if I had to meet with each one-on-one to find out their views on a certain issue, and then try to find out what we can subtract from it or add to it to make them come around and say, okay, this is a project now, we can work with it. I think that's my strength.
Continuing relationships, community policing, and the last couple weeks, and really the last couple of years, it's been a hot button issue really in the country. A few incidents happened actually in Brockton a couple weeks ago. There's some video that came out. It was a ugly situation. Just talk about the relationship between people in the police. Does it need to improve? How is it now? And as a counselor, what could you do to help improve that relationship if you feel there needs to be one?
I do, to a small extent. When I look across the country, I think that the Brockton police are doing an excellent job of what we have to work with. However, with anything, you're going to have a couple of bad situations that happen. The one that happened a few weeks ago with the students from Brockton High School, I feel that, in my opinion, that was actually the cops. I feel the police officer, not all of them. I feel the police. That officer could have handled it a little bit differently, from what I've seen. Okay, I wasn't there, but from what I've seen, he could have handled it a little bit differently. And once it gets out of control like that, the other police officers have to stand with, in a unified front. I think that we need some more community policing because everyone needs to be on the same page. At the same time, the police need to realize that when you're dealing with the students or our younger generation, they already have a bad perception in their mind from whatever, okay? And that's something that we have to break down, which means that we have to be a little bit more patient, okay, when we're trying to communicate with them. And I think that communication is the key because, like I said, one of my strengths is I can communicate with anybody, okay? I don't care what the situation is, There's a happy medium, but it all depends on your presentation. You present it right, a person can understand. And I think that the police need to calm down just a little bit. And I say calm down, not that they're out of control. I'm just saying in their presentation of communication.
You have a background in law enforcement yourself, right?
Yes. And you know something, believe it or not, I was that person when I was there that people, just like I'm telling you now, that when the counselors don't answer their phone, my phone rings. I was that officer that they didn't get the results from other officers. They knew they could call me. And I mean, I had phone calls to where people would tell me something that, hey, there's drugs being sold at the end of the street, you know. And I would tell them, no problem. We'll handle it. Give me a few days. And I would get with the right people. If it was out of my area, it didn't matter. We took care of the problem, you know. And sometimes you don't have to go in there with guns blazing. You just have to let people know, hey, listen, not here. Okay? You got to go. And guess what? Nobody really wants any problems. You know, sometimes we create our own problems, you know. And like I said, communication is the key.
Absolutely. You know, it's definitely a soft spot for me with the recent documentary that I did. It's,
yes,
you know, relationships and anything is, you know, whether you're a pastor, teacher, police officer, you know, building relationships is huge. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about, you know, if you're elected, what are some things you want to accomplish, you know, that first few months? Are there some specific things that you kind of want to tackle?
Well, you know, first of all, again, we're talking about relationships. One of the things that I need to do is, and I want to do, is to make sure that I build the relationships with the other counselors, that they know what I'm saying right here now, that this is the type of person that I'm going to be. But I'm also going to be that type of person to where we're going to do it correctly, okay? Because I can't stand for, like let's take that $6 million, $6+ million deficit right now on the buses. These are things to where I don't want to leave things. I'm a visionary. I don't want to leave things to where, you know, you tell me we're going to find the money. Because my question then is where, how, I mean, who, what, when, where, why, and how are we going to accomplish this? Where's it coming from? Or whatever. We have to be able to get that out of the way. So I'm going to be that type of person of asking people, but I want to form the relationship with the other counselors to let them know this is how I'm going to be. I can work for everything. As far as some of the things I want to accomplish, what I would like to accomplish is the fact that, you know, right now we're starting to see some of the things that Mayor Carpenter did. He never lived to see it. We're getting ready to see it. I want to be that person that starts opening up doors to economic development here in this city, right? And I'm not talking about just housing. Okay, housing's going to take care of itself because we do have enough abandoned buildings and things like that to where for developers to come in, we have that. What we need though is to start taking the burden off of the homeowners, okay, for their taxes and their water rates and stuff. So we need to actually go after some businesses. I've been trying to do that already, and without being a city councilor.
What type of businesses?
I'm talking about anything that's going to be viable to where. Nothing against the little businesses that we have,
stores.
Right? The mom and pop stores. We have those, and we need to back them up to make sure they're viable, okay, and staying in business. But I'm talking about some businesses that can come in here that that can hire, okay, 50 to 100 people at a time. You know, to where we're getting some people off of the welfare rolls and giving them some good jobs and things like that. Some that can, business that can come in here. And like I said, I have some ideas that, like I said earlier, some people have, I don't want to go into it, but I've been working on some things to actually bring some businesses to our south side. You know, our south side right now, when Kmart closes their doors, matter of fact, that's the only thing we have right now, and they're not doing anything. You know, and you know, I know we're focusing on our downtown, and yes, we should. That's the core to Brockton. But right now, I have some things in mind and in works, and I'm making phone calls on a daily basis. I have some things that I'm working on to actually put for the South Side. And if I can make it come to fruition, the South Side is a major player in the game instantly.
Absolutely. That's definitely exciting. I got to ask you about this. You know, the big buzzword during the last couple of months has been diversity, inclusion. It's been huge. How do you balance, and the city council can't hire and fire, but they can set policy.
Right.
How do you balance having a a diverse workforce, but also hiring the most qualified?
Oh, very good question. And I'll tell you, the only way that I think that we can do that, first of all, I think that you have to hire the best person that's presenting themselves, first of all, to be fair. Because you know something? It's kind of hard. You want to try to get that happy balance. And I think that, you know, we need to, it would be nice if we could say, we're going to have a certain percentage of this, that, and the other thing. No matter how you look at it, I think that if you don't hire the best candidate that's in front of you, no matter what the color, race, creed is, it's wrong. Okay? And basically, we just need to educate and let everyone know. I think that if we, because there's some good people that are out there that are very educated and very professional in whatever position is coming up, regardless of color. You know, we have them all. It's just that we don't communicate the positions that are coming up, you know, for jobs and things like that. But I think that as far as like construction goes, I think that like if some of the projects that we have coming around Brockton, we do need to open up some of that to diversify the companies that are getting those contracts. Okay, all of them can't just be the same race contract, the good old boy network again. I'm sorry to say it like that, but we need to actually make sure that we have so much that goes to minority companies.
So Gary, I just want you to make a final pitch out there to the voters on why you should be one of the 4 city councilors, why they should vote for you on November 5th.
Well, since 2013, when I first ran, it was the first year that it was the first time that when Moses became a city councilor. So I ran since then. And the thing is that even though I lost in that primary, I've been in the trenches ever since then, doing exactly what I was trying to do, everything that I could do, even if I was elected without the title. I've never given up on Brockton. I'm hoping Brockton never gives up on me. However, the thing is that I've proven it. Okay, I've been out there. Now, we have a lot of great candidates, and I'm not knocking any one of them, but I think that I am the most, when I say experience matters, it's because I've been out there doing it, and nobody else has. Okay, the fact of the matter is no one else has been doing it as long as I have and what I've done. So I've proven it across the board without prejudice. Like I said, that you have black candidates, white candidates, female candidates, you know, Haitian candidates, Cape Verdean candidates. You know, we have everyone rallying behind a certain race or a certain group. With me, there are no groups. And there's only one race, and that's called the human race. And I'm here to represent each and everybody that lives within or works within the city limits of Brockton. And I'm here for each and every last one of them. And that's what I've been doing. That's what I will continue to do. I'm just asking for a seat at the table to where we don't have to stop at the doorway anymore. We can go ahead and push it all the way through.
Listen, I wish you the best on Tuesday, and I definitely want to just encourage the viewers out there, the listeners, excuse me, to go out there to vote, let your voice be heard, and Gary, wish you the best.
Thank you very much. And just let them know I'm number 6 on the ballot. Let's make history in Brockton.